Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Reasons for Truth. Truth comes first, reasons come last. We're always in constantly learning because we stop learning, we stop teaching. We're at least stop teaching. Well, today, I know for a fact that my podcast especially is being, listen, I want to thank everybody from Cambodia for taking the time to invest in my podcast. So today, I found the great article by Christianity Today, and that's what I want to talk to you about. All right. Cambodia is an interesting country in the East. And Christianity has been and continues to explode there. Today I want to share with you through an article by Christianity Today in 2023, Christianity has moved from Christianity exploding into the country to be a major church planting force for God in the East. So without further ado, this is exciting. Let's get started. Everybody, welcome back to Reason for Truth. I'm your host, Stevie Garofalo. Reason for Truth. Truth comes first. Reasons come last. We're always in constantly learning because we stop learning, stop teaching, or at least stop teaching. Well, that's why this podcast is downloaded in Cambodia. And I'm very thankful for all of you. I want to spread out a lot of love and appreciation for all of y'all. In an article by Christianity Today published January 25th of 2023, 12:08 p.m., titled Cambodians Usher in a Miraculous Moment for Christianity, How the Southeast Asian Country Went from an Underground Church to a Church Planning Boom, by Kate Shelnut in Phnom Penh, Phnompenh. Apologies if I mispronounced that. Posted by James Thompson. That's easy for me to pronounce, being American. January 25th, 2023. Cambodian evangelicals celebrate 100 years of Christians growing since the arrival of Protestant missionaries. The church in Cambodia was wiped out, by the way, genocide, forced to rebuild, and now it's time to the gospel to shine, is what they write. A festival celebrating the 100th anniversary of Protestant Christianity in Cambodia was coming up the weekend after that January 2023 posting. And Navy Chan's phone was just dinging off the wall. Just great. Lots of activity, lots of fever. Lots of Christians excited about the growth of Christianity in Cambodia. By the way, the article was actually published in its current form in an issue on June of 2024. Navy Chan Executive Secretary Committee planned the celebration, which local believers expected would be the country's biggest Christian event ever. This is an exciting one. The Cambodian Gospel Centennial Celebration is now a 2-day festival. It's grown in Phnom Penh, commemorating the arrival of the country's first Protestant missionaries in 1923. Those folks, if they were alive today, they couldn't imagine this is what would become. Those humble missionaries who gave all they had selflessly to invest in Cambodia. 101 years ago. Chan, the fellow Christian leaders, spent over 2 years planning the event of the first event in 2023, and she said now it's growing. So during the final week of preparation, they had stayed in almost constant contact to ensure that every detail is perfected in this celebration. And they said this, that Cambodia would become an aroma of Christ in Asia and around the world. This pumps me up because as churches have gotten soft in the West, and I think they'll return as soon as there's enough persecution and trouble and lack of money, they'll become more like we'll be following the Cambodian church, right? And in the East. So God's blessing. We need to be praying for Cambodia because the East is where the future of really, I think, financial expansion as the West begins to retract. That's where it's at. And you say, well, that's money. What does that have to do with faith? Well, in part, we have to make sure we influence those areas of affluence, right? Because that's going to, in great part, have a big impact on Christianity in the world. So a large open air exhibition area, they had that going on, welcoming those in their journey from the capital's Diamond Islands district with zones for expeditions. They had the whole thing, 10,000 plus attendees. That's what it was, 10,000 expected to attend. While there have been sizable Christian gatherings in Cambodia in the past, many have primarily been led and funded by organizations from abroad, like Billy Graham Association, Evangelistic Association, it'd say. In a rally in Cambodia in 2019, the organization's first event in South Asian nation. I know, listen, Billy Graham Association is located here. I have a lot of my friends work for Billy Graham Association, and I think Billy Graham Association would say this is fantastic that they're doing it on their own now. It's the beauty of BG&E, great organization. By this time, the driving force has been Cambodian believers themselves, including Evangelical Fellowship of Cambodia. Only 3 of the 18 members of the executive committee are foreigners, and about 3/4 of the $228,000 that have been raised for the celebration has come from the inside the country. So you could see Cambodia is becoming self-sustaining. They're not depending on the West or United States for that money, which is the way it should be. Christians from all classes, by the way, have given money from Cambodia. The poor, the middle class, the upper class, and they have a thriving middle class. So that's a lot of money. Says that was confirmed by Mara Kong, a pastor in Life Fellowship in Phnom Penh, who leads the executive committee. Some have contributed as little as 25 cents because it's all they can afford, like the widows might. Let me tell you something. Their 25 cents in God's eyes is $25 trillion, just so you know. And just if you're reading I'm just telling you, it comes from the heart. They gave sacrificially, not out of their excess, obviously. They give because they believe it's time for the gospel to shine in the nation, Kong says. I've never seen unity in the body of Christ in Cambodia like this before. Makes me want to move there. A lot of people have been praying for Cambodia and dreaming to see the Cambodian people have an encounter with God. Their prayers have worked. That's what they wrote. Christianity has found unlikely momentum, folks, in Cambodia, and that there's data to support the sense of progress felt by leaders on the ground. That's where it really counts, not in some boardroom where they're looking at charts. According to the World Christian Database, Cambodia's Christian population grew more than any other country in Southeast Asia from 2000 to 2015, and by 2020, almost 3% of its population was Christian. Though a smaller percentage than in several nearby nations, it's a remarkable figure considering that there were nearly no Cambodian Protestants at 2 points in the last century. When 2 American missionary couples from the Christian Missionary Alliance, CMA, wonderful organization, arrived in Phnom Penh in 1923 to plant churches and translate the Bible into Khmer language, they had little foundation to build on. So French colonial leadership forbid, right, Protestant missionaries from entering the country before that, simply because probably Catholicism was the leading religion there. But at that time, the small Roman Catholic presence in the country dating back to the 16th century was largely disconnected from the broader Cambodian society. So I guess they saw it as, hey, this is not the worst thing in the world. And efforts by foreign Protestant Bible societies to translate the scriptures into Khmer, their language, stalled decades earlier. So only the Gospel of Luke and Acts were completed, by the way. And the French colonial government opposed the distribution of that translation. That's sad. 100 years ago, the CMA missionaries were able to secure permission for their work. They did it the right way and begin to see slow but meaningful progress. From these humble beginnings, the Protestant and independent Christian communities increased gradually over the next 40 years. This is the way Christianity grows, before experiencing the surprising jolt of more rapid growth. All North American Protestant missionaries were expelled from Cambodia, by the way, in 1965, amid the rising anti-Western sentiment, and many feared that the nascent church they left behind would fade away. So as it turns out, exactly the opposite happened, said Brianna Wong, an expert in Cambodian Christianity who teaches at Phillips Theological Seminary in Tulsa. Protestantism, she says, actually exploded between 65 and 70. It always works that way. The year that North American Protestants returned and continued growing until 1975. Remember, as Dr. Norman Geisler said, Christians are like tea. Best flavors come out when the water's the hottest. The growth stopped abruptly in 1975. The brutal Khmer Rouge regime came to power. That was when communists, they killed off the most educated, many of the Christians, supposedly working to create an agrarian and egalitarian society. The Khmer Rouge terrorized Cambodians with forced relocations, violence, and murder. So during the final weeks of the preparation, they have stayed in almost constant contact to ensure that every detail is perfect. And the celebration, this for good reason, was fulfilled and people were honored. Jesus was honored. Cambodia would soon become an aroma for Christ in Asia and around the world. So this is pretty exciting. Listen, where there have been sizable Christian gatherings in Cambodia in the past, many have primarily been led and funded by organizations, again, remember, by the Billy Graham Association, but this time it's different. Cambodia in the Christianity and the Christians in Cambodia. They're standing on their own. But you know what they could use? They could use our prayerfully support of prayer, deep prayer, and the prayer that they would be now the centerpiece of Christian growth in the East. Christians gathered for kickoff, an anniversary celebration 22 is just the beginning. I think it's just the beginning. So remember, Christians from all classes gave their money. They gave their money. It wasn't just rich or wasn't just a couple people. They gave because they believe it's time for the gospel to do what? To shine in their nation. Remember? Kong said, I've never seen unity in the body of Christ in Cambodia like this before. A lot of people have been praying for Cambodia and dreaming to see Cambodian people have an encounter with God. And guess what? Their prayers have been answered. This is exciting, folks. I want you to be in prayer for Cambodia. They're great people. They're great people. Keep your eyes. Some people go, Cambodia? What's in Cambodia? That's been the past. Oh, they're undeveloped, et cetera, et cetera. Nah, man. God's working. By the way, Cambodia is coming up even in the world. They're developing nicely, and God blessings to them. And I think they're keeping their culture intact, and I think that's a great thing. So let's be in prayer. So if you're out there, you Cambodians, blessings. As I said before, if any of you guys want any online training, you just reach out to go to reasonfortruth.bible, hit the contact button, reach out to me. We'll open some dialogue about providing guys some resources online if you find value in that. It's in American, of course, but of course we wouldn't charge you for that. So God's blessings to you. Do a few things. Make sure that you go check out those online resources at equippedacademy.com or christianonlinetraining.com. Then before you leave, like this, share it with others, your friends. It's free. But before you go, one last thing. You know what I say in Italian? Everybody knows I'm 100% Sicilian. Bam! Consiglio sinistro. That there is knock out that subscribe button. Take it out. Right hook, left hook. And then make sure that you hit that little alert bell down there. So thank you for tuning in. Be in prayer for Cambodia. I'm your host, Stevie Garofalo, and this is your Reason for Truth for today.